today we're gonna do some case study on the data set that is provided by the IMDB, which is Internet Movie Database. We're gonna do some analysis and draw out some Power BI visualization on it. So this is the data set link. Here you can find the imdb.csv. You can download it from there. The data set has several columns such as budget text, country, date text, genre, name, and others. The budget text tells us about the budget of the movie in which the movie is made. The country tells us about the origin of the movie, the country origin of the movie. Date text tells us about the associated date with the movie, that can be a release date, production date, or another relevant event. Genre tells us about the movie category, the theme of the movie, style, and the content. Name tells us about the original name of the movie. Original language tells us about the language in which originally the movie is made. Original title tells us about the original title of the movie. Sometimes it happens that the title of the movie is in Japanese, Chinese, or in other language. So in the names, we they have converted the name of the original title into the English language, but in the original title they have the original name of the movie. Profit and loss tells us about the profit or loss made by the movie, which has been calculated by the difference of the revenue and budget. Revenue tells us about the income generated by the movie by selling the tickets, rentals, and other sources. Score is here a rating that is given to the movie by the public and by the critics. So the rating is from 0 to 100. Status tells us about the status of the movie, whether it is in production, completed, released, or anything. Here in the data set, we have known the columns and what the data set contain. Now moving to the problem statement. In the imdb.csv, we have to draw out some visualization and draw out some insights on it. In the deliverables, we have to create some interactive visual filters and tooltips. And the dashboard should highlight these 7 things also. And the dashboard should have the slicer by country and status. So now we will dive into the Power BI and import the dataset. So we have opened the Power BI. Now we have two options. We can get data from here, or we can use from file. We can get data from here. I am using from here. We have the imdb.csv, so we will select text.csv. I have already downloaded the data imdb.csv, so it's already right here. So I will open it. It will create a data model out of it, and then we will be able to see the different types of columns in it. So here you can see that there are different types of columns, and the data is already pre-processed, so we don't have to do any kind of processing in it. So now we will load the data. So you can see that all columns data is loaded here. From the data section you can see the different columns, and we will, from the table view, we can see the data here. You can see as the data is coming just fine. So now we will start creating our visualization. We have already imported the data set of the IMDB, and you can see different columns here. And in the table view, we can see the data here that is already transformed. So now let's move to the different deliverables that we have to give. So firstly, they are telling us to give the total number of movies. Okay. So here we can see that on the left side of on the right side in the data, we have different columns here. So what we will do, we will select the names that tells us about the names of the movie, and we click on that. In the left side you can see that automatically a table has been created which tells us about total number of names, but here we have to count the names. So in the columns here in the names, we have to do the count distinct that tells us about the different names. So now we have done the count of name, we will create a card of it. So here we created the card. Now you can see that 9656 is the total distinct count of the movies. So this tells us about the total number of movies. So here it tells us about total number of movies. So our first deliverable is done. Now we will move to the second, the total profit or loss generated by the all movies combined. Okay. Now here we can see this is the profit and loss. When we click on it, and another table is created and automatically a bar chart is created here. So this is our total profit slash loss that is made here. Now we have to do the sum of all this, and you can see that already the sum aggregation has been used here. We have to tell the total profit or loss, so we will also use a data card here. So by using the data card, you can see that 1.92 trillion is the total profit or loss that is made by these movies. Now second point is done. Now we will move to the third point that tells us about the total number of movie genre. Okay, so here we can see the genre is here. Clicking on that creates a table. You can see that the table is here, but we have to tell the total number of genre. So what we will do, we will do the count distinct that tells us about the total number of genre. You can see that 2300 something is coming up. We will make a card of it, and this tells us about the total number of genre. So we will write it as total number of genre or genre. Some call it as genre. So yeah, so these three things is done here. Now we will move to the fourth one, as we have to show the graph of the total movie produced by each country in descending order. Okay, so we have to show country. So we have selected the country, and we have to select the total number of movies. Now we have to show the total number of movies. So by the movie's name we can create it, and we have to create a bar graph. So if we create a bar graph, on x-axis we have the name and y-axis we have the countries. So you can see that this tells us about total number of movies, and this tells us about the country. On the x-axis we have the different country names. On the y-axis we have the count of movies. So we will change the name of the graph from here. Format your visual. We will keep the data label as off. We will move to the general. We can see the properties here, different properties. We will move to the title, and you can see that this is the count of names by the movie. We will do that movies by country. So we will name it as movies by country. So we will do it, and we can see that a bar graph is created right here. So our fourth deliverable is also done. Fifth, we have to create a tree map showing the count of the movie by each genre. Okay, so we will select the genre, and we will select the name. Now we have to draw a tree map. So the tree map is right here. So now the category is genre and the details is name. So here it is not details, the name will come as values, and yes, this comes as count distinct. So you can see that a tree graph has been made, in which it tells us about the total number of movies that are mostly made are in drama. So we will change the visualization by going to the general, changing its title that tells us about movies total movies by genre. Okay, so here we can see that a tree graph is also made here. Now we will move to the sixth point, that is create a pie chart to show the total number of movies by each language. Okay, so here it is telling us about creating a pie chart to show the total number of movies by each language. So we will select the original language and we will select the names, and we have to create a pie chart of it. This is a donut chart and this is a pie chart. So if we click on it, so we have to select the values as name here, and we will do the count distinct of the name. So this tells us about the total number of movies by each language. So you can see that English has most number of movies here. So we will change the name of this graph channel. We will go to the title, and this is total movies by language. So this tells us about the total number of movies by language. Now we will move to the next one. We have to create rating versus revenue graph to show the relationship between them. Fine. So here now we will select the rating. Here can we see the rating? Yeah, score is our rating and the revenue is here. So if we select the revenue as score as x-axis, so you can see that this is the score and this is the revenue. So we can clearly see from here that the movie which have the high scores are getting more revenue, and the most of the movie which have the revenue between 60 to 80 gets the highest revenue from here. So now this is done. They are also telling us to create a slicer by country and status also. That will apply on all the visualization. Okay, fine. Now we will find the slicer that applies on country and status. So we will select the country and create it as a slicer. So you can see that a slicer has been created for the country, and second thing was status. So we click status and create a slicer out of it. So you can see that a status has been made. Now we can see that this is okay, but we want it as a little bit more visual appealing. So what we will do, we will change it to the tile, and now we can see that this is our status. Okay, country, we will do it as drop down. So the country drop down has been made. So yeah, so all thing is created right now. So we will do the country as all. You can see that we can change the cross report. We want it as cross report, so we will do it on. Similarly for both of them. So this is our overall report that we created. You can see that all visualization are running absolutely fine. For EU, it is showing something like this. We can change its property from here. Drill all reports, keep all filter is on. We can do this slicer setting to the drop down. Multiple select is on. Show select all together will be there now. Select all. You can see that select all is there. Now our our report is completed, we will do little bit of we will work little bit on the visual appeal. So now we will insert a text box. In here we will write it as IMDB date IMDB analysis. We will increase its size to up to 32. 32 seems fine. We will do the bold, and yeah, pretty much of it. We will move it to upward. So this is created. So this is our overall visualization report. So we have highlighted all 7 features that we are told, and we have created the slicer, and that is working on all visualization. So thank you and have a nice day ahead.